Did you guys see what the NFL did Friday night? Did you guys see the little trick they pulled Friday night?
What
Tell
was
me.
that?
Expose it.
Well, they like to do news dumps, right? They call it a news dump where they try to hide something that was reported.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and one of the best ways of hiding something that, maybe you want to be covered up by a Saturday of college football and a Sunday of NFL football and maybe Monday night football, something you do, okay, is you just push something out to the Associated Press late at night on a Friday night that somehow of the 650,000 emails that the NFL had sorted through and investigated with the Washington football team, John Gruden is the only thing they found from that report.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm still like trying to figure that one out.
It's amazing.
I'm not trying to figure it out. It's a full-blown, there's more to this. This is some –
Of course.
There's just some BS.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Man, the NFL got away with that one because they dropped it on a Friday. Oh, don't worry. Here on the weekend overnights, they got a battle axe from yours truly there because it is a bunch of crap. It's the NFL that thinks people are idiots, and they actually buy into this theory or notion that there's no other 650,000 emails. And they figured out the only two that were offensive in nature. That organization, that organization's reputation, all of that, and they found the only 2 or 3 correspondents involving John Gruden. And of the 650,000, the other 649,997 were squeaky clean. What the hell are we talking about?
Is
here?
that the rabbit hole we're going down at 328,
I mean, well,
628?
listen, it's
We
fair.
don't have to go
Anybody's
down a rabbit
fair
hole.
play.
Let's just call it what it is, man. It's some BS.
They're full of
There's
crap.
way more to this.
Yes.
And, yeah.
I'm just glad you guys are doing it because if I'm doing it, I'm a disgruntled former player that's like, oh, you want to see them go down.
But it's not.
You want to see them burn.
It's not even the Washington football team that you want to see go down. It's the hypocrisy of the NFL.
Oof.
Like they want to act like they care, and then they turn their back, or they treat an identical situation, or they treat something else different, and they hide under the guise of, well, every situation is unique. And it's like, well, yeah, but didn't you come up with a standard protocol and way you were handling any sort of domestic violence? Like, do you remember how they're like, oh, automatic 6-game suspension? But, that's only in certain cases. Like, it's the hypocrisy of the NFL and the initiatives that they push in one way and they talk out of the other side of the mouth. That's what frustrates me about it, no matter what we're talking about, whether it's officiating, whether it's gambling, whether it's off-the-field issues with players or this sort of thing. It's just the whole thing. They're just one big giant hypocrite. That's what it is right now.
This is the best part about all of it. We got more about what was going on behind the scenes in regards to Tom Brady taking air out of a football than we did the 650,000 emails that they've tried to keep private and keep a secret unless they wanted to drop one on Monday Night Football to make it seem like they got the culprit and everything's squeaky clean now. It's a bunch of crap.
Here's what people have to understand about this is the amount of detailed logging in an investigation that needed to take place. Like at what point, I wonder what page were those emails with John Gruden?
Right.
What number was that? What like where was that hidden in all of this, right? And then that's probably one of the biggest questions is where in all of those emails that were used for an investigation.
Page 2, and they're like, well, we don't need to read
it was
the
right
rest.
there. We don't even have to go any further, right?
Yeah, that'll be enough. That'll do.
Were they all together? Were these all one line of correspondence? Like, you know what I mean? And then the next question you got to ask yourself, honestly, because we kind of breezed over like the nude pictures and stuff like that. Like, now you got to ask yourself the question, what is worse than what it is that we uncovered on John Gruden? What's worse? Because there's worse.
Yes.
There is worse. You can bet the bank on it that is not the most vile of things that were in those emails and those correspondence. So and as far as what you're saying, Brady, now the question becomes, if you have to look at what's worse in these emails, then what is the punishment? What is the course of action? What is the protocol? Because John Gruden had to leave. Like, he had to leave, and for all intents and purposes, he's ruined. Like, that's career suicide. He's ruined. He'll be able to do certain things. People that won't subscribe to what happened will still be proponents of John Gruden, and he can teach or coach or whatever.
To your point, think about this. Let's say LeVar Arrington's having a celebrity golf outing. If John Gruden wants to come, can you advertise he's going to be there? Can you advertise anything? Like,
I have to get his sign off on it, right? If you're using somebody's name.
But by the way, it was not even just that. I'm not saying about the sign off. I'm saying, like, other people around you, LeVar,
your
are going to say
sponsors would complain.
The sponsors would. Your boys would.
Oh, yeah.
There might be some people who are offended by this. Like, something even as simple as that, like, it changes the dynamics of everything. So I just – that's the first thing that kind of bothers me about it. But you know what the problem is Roger Goodell isn't going to try to – like, this was like a one-off instance where it obviously impacts the Raiders. But with the Washington football team, like, they're like, all right, nothing to see here, moving on. And you're not going to get a big tumultuous or some sort of, greater investigation in all of this because Roger Goodell works for all these owners. I mean, that's the reality of it. And I don't think all these owners want a league-wide investigation into their correspondence. I mean, think about just with one team, 650,000 emails. Think about if you multiply that by 32 or 31 other teams that now you're sorting through to ensure their conduct and communication is above board.
And I think that's the point. You're making the very point that this whole entire situation has drugged the National Football League into, because whether it happens or not, if you have any ounce of common sense, you don't have to be a scholar. You don't have to be this super, super, super smart rocket scientist or open heart surgeon. It takes common sense to come up with the conclusion you just came up with, Brady. Why if this is what's going to happen to John Gruden, then why is it start and stop there? Why does it start and stop there?
And here's how you know that there's something worse in there than what happened with John Gruden, because they won't release it. That's how you know something was worse. And also, have you noticed, you've got all these people coming out wanting the other emails released. You've got Derek Carr. You've got players. You've got organizations. You've got the NFLPA. You've got the media. You know who's not saying, hey, release the other emails? NFL owners.
I'm telling you, there
NFL owners are like, hey, big games on Sunday. What are you guys thinking? We'll give a promotion away, and we'll retire a jersey on 2 days' notice. Yeah, NFL owners want no part of this.
There are parties being discussed in there. There are gatherings and get-togethers being discussed in there. There's players that they like, that they don't like, being discussed in there. There are ways to get rid of the players that are it's being discussed in there.
Well, think about that time frame too. Colin Kaepernick. Now, I don't think anyone was, would have talked about it over a team email to allow. Maybe they did. I have no idea, but that drums up that whole conversation. Like, we get to actually see the truth of what was said at that point in time. Who knows if it's about domestic violence and situations like Ray Rice or Greg Hardy or any other player that was a part of all that, right? Like,
and what is that's the thing. Now we're going down that rabbit hole. And I told y'all last week, that rabbit hole leads to Wonderland. There isn't a dirt bottom. You're not going to just keep following, dirt. Nope. Whole new world. You done fell into a whole entirely different world. In fact, you can look for the Wizard of Oz in Wonderland, because it all comes together and it all meets at the end of this rabbit hole. Whatever it is you think it is, that golden brick road, whatever it is that's behind in the castle where the wizard is actually pedaling and squeaking horns and stuff like, whatever it is you thought it was, it's there, and there's more. And there's more, because you know what those emails being released made me really understand and realize. For all these years, you try to dissect and understand how things happen the way that they happen, or why they happen the way that they do. And then you realize that you're actually thinking on a much higher level and trying to figure something else out than what it really truly is. Those emails said to me, these are some simple dudes having simple conversations. Simple. That's simple-minded stuff. And those messages, you want to accuse them of being something? This is what you accuse them of being on. A simpleton. Those are simpletons. And so now you're talking about these guys are making decisions. This guy's making a decision for the front office of the Washington football team. This guy is the owner of the Washington football team. This guy runs something. This guy runs something. And they're all simpletons. Which means if you're a simpleton, you're not having high-level conversations. The things that we would read in those, it'd be like A, B, C, easy as 1, 2, 3. Do, re, me. Like, what the F is this?
But they're owners. What do you mean? I mean, these are the owners of the team.
And I think that if you expose how simple these guys really are, because, one thing that I learned growing up, just super quick, is back when I was growing up, to see somebody famous, to see somebody popular, to be exposed to that was like a life changer. It's all different now. But back then, it was like, man, I can recall the things that I ended up aspiring to be and wanting to be were based off of my in-person interactions with Dwight White, with Jerome Bettis. These were my with some of the, and it's so funny that it was so many Notre Dame guys because Ray Zellers is somebody I got close to these guys and I started realizing that they're just like me. And once I realized that they were just like me, then I allowed my work ethic to carry me to where it was that I was going, because I realized that if I worked my ass off, I could get to where these guys that I've seen and have met are at right now. So the point is now, if I start being exposed to the fact that these dudes are so this simple, I could be an owner. Let me get my mind right. Let me figure out what I need to do. Let me put my chips together. Let me pull my network of people together, and I'll be damned if you hold me back from being able to do it. And that might be one of the biggest fears of all of this and biggest concerns of all of this is you sit there and you think that these people are so removed from what we are and what we represent, and then you realize that they're just like you. They're just like us.
Yeah.
You're no different. Your bank account may read a whole lot more zeros than what ours is. Fine, so be it. Right place, right time. I don't know. Generation, legacy play. Who knows? But this is what I do know. If you read the rest of those emails, you are going to see more Neanderthal, like nonsensible, just silliness of dudes acting like kids that are adults, that were never cool when they were growing up, never got the girl when they were growing up, never was the best football player when they were growing up, and they're living their dream around dudes that I could sit there and dap up Brady Quinn, and Brady Quinn's my dude, and we're going to go get dinner tonight. I'm going to go see Jay-Z tonight. We're going to go do this tonight, and we're going VIP, and we're going to go on the boat next week, and we're going to go on the plane tonight. Like, you are validating what you never were by being what you currently are. And I think that that's what those emails uncover.